No? Yep. Good morning. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, yes, we can hear you, sir.
All right. First of all, I really want to thank you all for giving me an excuse to take a look at a small but interesting part of my life. I've gone back in time in my life to reveal the life of a young 23-year-old boy and how I became part of the fabric of the 38th Parallel Medical Society. Looking at it from the perspective of a man who's to be 90 on his next birthday. When I first arrived in Korea in 1951, I'd already had a bachelor's degree in education, a master's degree in education, had done some teaching. I had been given the MOS, Military Occupied Specialty, of a education and information serviceman. Hardly the credentials necessary for a military situation. When I arrived, the captain recognized immediately there was something not quite right. And so he said, Marvin, listen, he didn't call me Marvin, he called me private or corporal, I don't remember the rank. Listen, I'll take care of it. You just go off to the back of the compound, stay out of my way. All right? I took that time to walk around the village. The village, I think at that time, was called Changyangni. And I took pictures. I took pictures of the war, obviously. I also took pictures of the villages and the people and the merchants and walked with the soul and took pictures of the kids, and the kids were beautiful. I've never seen more beautiful kids in my life. I actually, at that moment, fell in love with Korea. When I went back to the compound, hello?
Yes, we can still hear you.
Oh, go on. When I went back to the compound, I saw that there were several children who had kind of, either they were orphans, misplaced, or displaced, and they actually had kind of solved their problem by living with the servicemen there, doing small chores in exchange for room and board and things like that. But what they weren't getting was an education. I knew I could do something about it. It wasn't fair. So I contacted the college that I'd gone to and asked them for help and assistance. Within days, I was inundated with all kinds of boxes and things of art materials, drawing materials, books, paperwork, everything you can possibly imagine. They even notified a magazine called Red Book, and Red Book actually sent an ad for the story, and I was also getting materials from them as well. The captain of the rebel company was in awe. He was impressed. He said, listen, let's get something started. I know I have some workers here who have gone to college. Maybe I can get them to help, and maybe we can get a school started. Well, I actually had the who and the what. I didn't have a where. Well, the where was simple. I, at that same time, was taking advantage of my situation, was taking lessons, exchanging lessons with a Korean worker who had gone to study art in Japan, and he was teaching me calligraphy, and I was teaching him Western perspective. So believe it or not, he said, you can have my studio space, but you have to fix it up. Well, the captain said, who by this time was my very best friend, said, listen, don't worry about it, I'll take care of it. And he was good to his word. Within days, we had everything set up. Within a few weeks, we actually had a full functioning classroom. The kids were going 3 hours a day, 5 days a week, and they were taking courses in Korean history, and art, and drawing, and math, and everything else the teachers could handle. Right? The ripple effect on this thing was incredible. I actually got a call from division headquarters. The captain says they want to see you. So, all right, fine. I was going to see Colonel Yuckman up at the 3rd Division headquarters. I went up there and I met with him. And much to my surprise, I actually saluted him. Right? I was suddenly a soldier again. Well, we talked a little bit how to go, and then he said to me, listen, tell me a little bit about your experience in terms of the school that you had just formed. I was surprised that he even knew about it. He said, was this strictly on your initiative? Did you do this all by yourself? And I explained the whole story to him, and he was pleased and said, that's great. That's exactly why I'm calling you up here. I need your help. I need your assistance. Would you work with me on this? I need somebody who can solve a problem on his own without somebody telling him how to do it on his own initiative. I said, fine, great. Well, he said, listen, meet with me tomorrow. Next day, I met with him, and some of the military officers, dental, psychiatry, whatever, and he explained the mandate. In essence, what he was saying was there are so many things to be learned because of this war, so many new things we're not prepared for. It's a whole new war. And we have all different countries here that can help us. People, other nations, they can help, and we can help them. We should share the information. Not to share the information, not to take advantage of this moment, would be a sin. Unconscionable. And I need help. Okay, fine, all right. So the next day, we were meeting, he was meeting with somebody from Greece, and he said to me, Marvin, listen, just take notes. All right? So I took notes and sat there, and the conversation was amazing. I was overwhelmed by their concerns in terms of the military. I was in. All right? Colonel then said to me, listen, I want you to stay on. I want you to be part of the fabric of the company here. Are you interested? And I laughed. Here I was, a kid from the Bronx, 23 years old, was to have an opportunity to work and deal with people from Korea, Great Britain, Greece, Indochina, Australia, Ethiopia. I was in, all right? No problem about it, okay? So we started on the next program. Now, my job was really very simple. Let me put it this way. All I had to do was establish the credentials between me and all the other countries, using Colonel Yuckman's name, and explain to each of those countries what our plan was, that we were going to have regular, if we can, meetings, and we would discuss and exchange information. Right? That was simple. Now, whenever we had a meeting, I would sit there, take notes, and by the way, I had taken medical illustration when I was in college, so I was able to communicate and express some of the things visually. All right? It wasn't always necessary, but it helped. And so after every meeting, I would sit with the colonel the next day, go over my notes, all the information. He would make comments, and then at that moment, we would then ship the equipment, the information back to all the respective countries and make sure they got the information that we wanted. So in a sense, it didn't take long before we had a steady flow of information, sometimes initiated by those countries themselves. And so we had something going where a tremendous amount of information was received, exchanged, and everything else like that. Now, again, it became routine, all based upon, obviously, Colonel Yuckman's availability. He actually had a war going on. You wouldn't have thought about it, because here he was more concerned with the medical part, as far as I was concerned, than his job in terms of the war. But anyway, I was very flattered by the whole thing. Now, teaching without learning is like selling without buying. So it was important that we stayed in steady contact with all the countries. And that was, again, simple. Today, on a click of a mouse, it could be done. Me, it was but it didn't take a lot of time, in a couple of days. I was actually able to get a couple of days off every week and run down that replacement company and talk to them. So just to let you bring you up to date, we actually had established an actual school in Seoul, real teachers, on a regular basis. I think the name of the school was the Songbok School for School, but I'm not sure, all right? But getting back to the division, a little bit of vanity on my part, all right? A lot of vanity on my part. There's never been a convention or a doctor's meeting where there hasn't been some sort of certificate. I had the pleasure of designing the 38th Parallel Medical Society document, a certificate, all right? I don't know if you ever got it, but there it is. Now, again, here I went to Korea to teach. I came back learning. And on that basis, I want to thank you all for the opportunity of doing this. And I wish you guys all the best. I'm proud of the fact that I was part of the process of planting a small, very tiny seed. With the nurturing and good care of professional soldiers and professional medical people, it grew into a giant tree, which is giving life and support and shade and protection to a vast community. My very best to you guys. If you have any questions, now's the time.
Thank you, Mr. Friedman, for your great contributions and your legacy of training a medically ready force. Thank you.